All right, let's talk about confidence. So often we think of it as this feeling we have to find, something we need to wait for before we can finally do the thing we want to do. But what if that whole idea is completely backward? Well, in this explainer, we're going to break down what self trust is really all about and show you exactly how to build it, brick by brick. Let's dive in. So, does this sound familiar? You want to speak up in a meeting, maybe start that new project, or even just introduce yourself to someone, but you stop, you hesitate. You tell yourself, I'll do it when I feel a little more confident. It's a trap, right? And it's one we all fall into, just waiting for a feeling that, honestly, might never show up on its own. And here it is. This is the big shift in thinking. The key takeaway is this: confidence isn't the spark. It's the fire that comes after you get brave and strike the match. It is the result of your actions. It's an outcome. You don't think your way into being confident. You have to act your way into it. So how do we start acting? Well, we're going to start with something you might find surprising: your own body. Okay, so our journey starts with 3 pillars that are all about the body. These are simple, physical tweaks you can make this very second that send these incredibly powerful signals straight to your brain, literally changing how you feel from the outside in. Our posture is so much more than just the way we look. When you're hunched over, we all do it, that classic phone neck. You're literally telling your body to pump out more cortisol, the stress hormone. But what happens when you stand tall, when you pull your shoulders back and actually take up a little space? Well, you do the exact opposite. You lower your stress and send a clear signal to your brain that says, hey, I'm capable, I'm safe, I've got this. And social psychologist Amy Cuddy just nails it with this quote. Your body language, it isn't just for communicating with other people. It's a constant feedback loop with your own mind. And you can absolutely use this to your advantage. Your nonverbals are a tool you can use anytime. Okay, next up, eye contact. Constantly looking away can signal to our deep, primal brain that we feel inferior or even threatened. But holding eye contact comfortably, that signals that you see yourself as an equal. Now, the goal here isn't some kind of intimidating stare down. A great rule of thumb to aim for is the 80-20 rule. Try to maintain eye contact about 80% of the time when you're listening to someone, and then maybe a little less when you're the one talking. And this quote just beautifully captures why this matters so much. Your eyes don't just see the world, they communicate your place in it. And when you practice making comfortable eye contact, you're not just looking at someone else, you're reflecting your own growing self-trust right back at yourself. Have you ever noticed how some people's statements kind of sound like questions? That's called up-talking. It's when your voice goes up at the end of a sentence, almost like you're asking for permission or approval. Think about the difference between saying, I think this is the right approach, versus, I think this is the right approach. See? That second one, that's downward inflection. It communicates certainty and self-assurance. So here's a super simple strategy you can try. Just take out your phone and record yourself talking for a minute. When you play it back, listen really closely to how you end your sentences. Do they go up in pitch? If they do, you've just found an incredibly powerful area to practice. It's going to feel a little weird at first, but trust me, training yourself to speak with a downward inflection is training yourself to sound as certain as you deserve to feel. Okay, so we've covered the body. Now, let's move inward, to the mind. These next couple of pillars are all about changing your mental habits and your actions to fundamentally shift the beliefs you hold about yourself. Hesitation is the absolute enemy of confidence. The second you have an instinct to do something, to raise your hand, to start that tough task, your brain gives you about 5 seconds before it hits the emergency brake and floods you with doubt. The 5-second rule is a brilliant way to hijack that process. The moment you feel that impulse, you just count backward. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and then you physically move. The counting distracts your analytical brain, and the movement signals commitment. It's that simple. And this whole idea comes from the amazing Mel Robbins, who reminds us that confidence isn't some personality trait you're either born with or you're not. No way. It's a skill. And just like any other skill, you build it through practice, through one small action after another. The 5-second rule, that's your new training regimen. Now this next one, it's subtle, but it is so, so important. It's one thing to laugh at yourself. That's healthy. But constantly making yourself the butt of the joke, well, that trains your subconscious mind to believe you really are inferior. So what do you do instead? Start with compliments. The next time someone gives you one, resist that powerful urge to deflect it or make a joke about it. Just smile, make that comfortable eye contact we talked about, and say a simple, genuine thank you.
I just want you to let this one sink in for a second. Every single word you say about yourself, even if you're just kidding, is another brick in the house your mind has to live in. So choose your building materials wisely. Start speaking about yourself with the respect you're working so hard to build.
And now we've arrived at our final and maybe the most powerful pillar of them all. This isn't just a single action, it is a complete system. It's designed to build genuine, lasting self-trust right from the ground up. We call it the success cycle. When you really get down to it, confidence is just a fancy word for self-trust. It's the reputation you have with yourself. I mean, think about it. If you tell yourself every night you're going to wake up at 6 a.m., but then you hit the snooze button 5 times, you're literally teaching your brain that your word doesn't matter. This pillar is all about reversing that process. So here's how this amazing success cycle works. Step 1, you set a tiny, tiny promise that is basically impossible to fail. Not, I'm going to go to the gym for an hour, but I'm just going to put on my workout clothes, or I'm going to drink 1 glass of water. Step 2, you do it. You keep the promise. And step 3, and this is crucial, you consciously acknowledge it. You give yourself a little internal high five. This registers as a win in your brain. And every single win is a piece of evidence, building a case that you are someone who does what they say they're going to do. And that right there is the very heart of self-trust. So there you have it, 6 powerful pillars that make up a complete toolkit for building the architecture of self-trust. From the way you stand and the way you speak to the way you interrupt hesitation, and most importantly, the tiny promises you keep to yourself. These aren't just cool ideas, they are actions you can start taking right now. And that really brings us to the end. The real question is, where do you start? Not tomorrow, not next week. Today, right now. Forget about trying to feel confident for a moment and just focus on one small action. What is one tiny, unlosable promise you will make and keep for yourself today? Because that, right there, is where it all begins.